else.
It leaves out a lot of stuff.
And it lies. It flat out lies. I told you about the 3/5 compromise with when they designated blacks 3/5 of a person. I gave you the reason for it. It was to make slave states have less power. Less. They don't tell you that. That's just one example. But there was this lady a few years ago. She was talking at this Netroots convention. Her name is Ashley Shackelford. And this is a prime example of what you're getting, what people are getting all around the country. Listen to this lady.
White people are racist. So I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because I believe that white people are born into not being human, like that actually instead of people of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So in this particular way, white people are all racist.
Unbelievable.
So there's no hope. Gabe, anybody, you have a 3-month-old child at home, there's no hope. You're born racist. That's that. That's the end of it. And you're judged by the color of your skin.
Okay, but explain this to me then.
And black people, you can't make it. You don't have the capacity to make it here in the United States.
Explain this to me. Gabriel goes to a school on the Upper West Side. It's a private school. It's a lot of money. And we made a birthday party for Gabriel. You saw these pictures, Bernard, about 3 years ago. And it was a snowstorm. We went to that field down by the Freedom Tower. You know, that AstroTurf field there on West Street.
Right.
And then we went to Shake Shack afterwards. And I have a picture of Gabriel and all his friends from his birthday party. 7 kids to be exact, enjoying burgers at Shake Shack in Lower Manhattan. Gabriel is the only white child in the photo.
See, now there you go. You're trying to explain away you're trying to excuse Gabe's racism by trying to explain it away. He hangs out with black. You are a racist.
I've got black friends.
You're
right.
Just don't get it.
Right.
Did you not hear the lesson? Just shut up.
Shut up.
And nod your head. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
That's all you have to do.
Oh, okay.
It's not hard, Sid.
No, okay, I got it.
All right.
But I just can't explain that picture, but I got it. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to be, lumped in with you.
No, I
Some
understand.
guy who doesn't understand.
I don't get it. You're right. Okay. I got it now, though. That's it. I'm done.
Listen, there is hope. There is hope. Again, you had the Chinese lady, a lot of people, the woman named Keisha King pushing back down in Florida. She was black, and a bunch of others. I mean, just so much pushback going on. And this lieutenant governor of North Carolina, this guy's name is Mark Robinson, and this guy is fantastic. He was great. He gave a speech on reparations, and, he was fired up about it all. Listen to him.
There are some people that were talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery. Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for you. Nobody owes you anything. If anybody owes, it's you. Because you've been the benefactor of freedom.
Again, I love the fact that he cites hundreds of thousands of people died to end slavery, and they were white. They were 99.9% white guys. I mean, so anyway, he did speak about critical race theory in particular also. Listen to him.
As a black man in America, there's one thing that I'm proud of, and it is my story. And my story is this. I come from folks who came over here in the belly of ships through the Middle Passage, who had to endure the horrors of mechanized slavery on cotton plantations, who had to deal with the indignity of Jim Crow. But here's what the glorious part of that story is. We survived and we thrived. Our story is not a story of victimization. It's a story of victory. And we have attained that victory together as Americans. That is what we need to be celebrating in this country. And we need to celebrate it together as Americans of all stripes, because it was Americans of all stripes who made those victories possible. We don't need ideas like critical race theories, creeping into the classroom that will do the exact opposite.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson from North Carolina. Remember that name. That is a strong guy. And there was also this congressman from Florida, Byron Donalds, and Burgess Owens out in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of black people are waking up to it. I mean, they're not down with defund the police. They're not down with critical race theory. So keep hope alive, folks. 2022, you're going to see a real, and Bill O'Reilly has brought this up before, you're going to see some backlash, I believe.
Let's hope so. 8:40, Dr. Mark Siegel makes his debut on the Bernie and Sid in the Morning Show. He's great on Fox News, has a new book out. We'll find out the latest what's going on with COVID vaccines and all that stuff. But coming up next, Lydia Serrano, 4 o'clock every weekday afternoon right here, sits alongside John Katzmatidis at 5. Lydia Reports on Bernie and Sid is next.
This is Lydia Reports on 77 WABC. Here's Lydia Serrano.
This report is sponsored by the Russian Tea Room. Are you on a budget and need to impress business partners or have a special occasion? The Russian Tea Room offers the ultimate iconic experience, a 3-course meal for only $55. RussianTeaRoomNYC.com. Well, we know early voting. It started already. And I was looking at what people were saying in the horror. Apparently some horror occurred in one polling district, according to a Washington Post writer. Now, she writes for the New York Times, NPR, Washington Post, and her name is Mira Nair. And she tweeted out to the Board of Elections, an inspector inside my polling station in Jackson Heights asked for my ID. When I said it was illegal in New York City to do that, he asked for my credit card. Jackson Heights is an immigrant-heavy district, and this is intimidating behavior. And then the New York City Board of Elections tweeted her back and said, ID is not required in New York State. We have spoken to the coordinator of the site. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Can you guys explain to me, or possibly to this writer, Mira Nair? Again, she writes for the Times, NPR, Washington Post, very moderate publications, why it is intimidating behavior to ask someone to identify themselves.
I would say that's a rhetorical question, Lydia. Of course, it's not, but the fact does remain, it's not required in New York City to show voter ID.
Right.
So, the fact that somebody asked for it was not in accordance with the laws, no?
Right. You're not supposed to. You don't have to, but is it technically intimidating behavior?
It's common sense is what it is. It's quite the contrary. It's what it should. Look, to get a vaccine, remember when you went to get the vaccine, what did you have to do? You had to show an ID. And nobody said, hey, that's racist. How's black people going to get vaccines? Nobody ever said that. The incongruity is so stark, the hypocrisy, the fake, the lie, it's a complete and total lie that black people can't get ID, that they're incapable of getting ID. It's actually racist.
It is. And when I went to the Met game on Friday night with Bill O'Reilly, and he was sitting in very, very fancy seats in the Hyundai Club, and it was a vaccinated section, I had to show my ID that went along with the picture on my phone, which has no picture. It just remarks about my 2 vaccination dates. But I had to show my ID to prove I'm the guy that got those 2 vaccinations.
Well,
what's the big deal?
I will tell you this. Stephen Cohen, that runs the Mets, is a flat-out racist. That is not cool. That is absolutely not cool. Look, and that's what the whole the HR 1, the vote to the whole kerfuffle with the Joe Manchin that he's not going to vote to reform the voting system, to federalize the elections, to normalize what happened in November of 2020, the debacle that was that election. That's why at the centerpiece of that is that nobody can ask for voter ID. Nobody, because it's racist. That's at the centerpiece of that law, which is totally stupid. And Joe Manchin is getting called, a Jim Crow and a racist and all KKK and all this stuff for that stupid reason. Of course, he's working with the Republicans, as I pointed out on Friday.
Yeah. When
John McCain, he bucked the Republicans to work with the Democrats, or Susan Collins or Mitt Romney does, they get applauded by the fake news for, bipartisanship and working across the aisle. But when Joe Manchin goes against the Democrats, He's a racist, Jim Crow, SOB. We got to get this guy.
Yeah, but he's a tough son of a bitch from West Virginia. Ain't going to bother him. He ain't going to go back and change his mind. No way.
I don't have as much faith in him as you do.
I do.
No, I don't.
Nah, he ain't going back. He ain't doing it.
Even though it's you don't have to ask somebody for ID, right? It's not required. Is it technically illegal if it's not required?
No.
Is there a law? Like, what is the law that you're technically breaking? What is the fine if you're a poll worker and you're asking for ID? Because like Sid just said, he went to the game and other places and went, I don't understand. What is this law technically? What is the statute on the books?
I guess I could say invasion of privacy. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you're breaking your law, but that would be it.
All I know is I've been voting in New York all my life, and nobody has ever asked me for ID.
Me either.
And I happen to know everybody knows that it's not required in New York State.
Or in Florida, I went and voted. In fact, I voted for Mitt Romney over Barack Obama, and did not present any ID.
I think that's changed now. I think they voted
in Florida.
Florida had similar laws passed as they passed in Georgia, and now they require voter ID.
Oh, they do?
I believe so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In other words, it's voter integrity.
Yeah.
It makes voting easier and cheating harder. That's
I
what
agree.
it does.
What's the big deal? I don't get it. What's the big deal?
Well, because black people are just not capable.
I know.
They just don't know what they're doing.
I know.
Say the Democrats.
Terrible. You think Kevin Durant has a license? Or
I mean, right. And Joe Biden. Well,
I don't think LeBron James does.
Black people
He's pretty dumb.
Black people can't get accountants and lawyers, as Joe Biden, and he said other things, similar things to that. Remember that? It really, I mean, they're the most racist, and let's take it a step further. They want to scrub these standardized tests because they say black people can't pass them. Excuse me? They want to scrub advanced math classes, which, by the way, over the weekend, they reversed course here in New York City. They're not going to scrub the advanced math classes, but their reasoning was that black kids cannot pass it.
That's right.
I mean, how racist is that? Black kids passed it for years and years and years and years and years. Recently, not so much. We should look into what the reason is. Who knows what it is? Culture, fatherlessness, bad schools? I don't know. Bad schools are the poor Asian kids who can't speak English, their families. They go to those same poor schools, and they pass. So what is it? I don't know. Fatherlessness? Too much weed?
Well, it starts right there. Fatherlessness is where it starts. And the rest of all those things apply as well. So there's a million reasons, the last of which are white people. That's the last
Yeah, it's because all white people are racist.
Right, well, we know that.
That's why.
Right.
Okay, so that's what it is. They're oppressing them.
I've accepted that. So even though I watched BET last night for 4 hours, I'm not even kidding you. I watched the making of New Edition. I couldn't shut it off. Which, of course, they became Belle Biv DeVoe. Then I watched the Bobby Brown story. I swear to you, I spent 4 hours watching BET last night. That's how racist I am. I didn't see a white person, except for Michael Rappaport. He was the only white guy I saw. He was the agent in 4 hours.
You don't understand. You don't get it. I just told you last time.
I did it again. I know. You're right.
Stop trying to virtue signal. Hey, I watch BET. I'm not a racist. You don't get. You were born racist, son, and you'll never not be a racist.
You're
That's
right.
just the way it is.
I do love New Edition, though. Candy Girl.
Educate yourself.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Poison. That's my favorite song.
Well, that was Belle Biv DeVoe.
Belle Biv DeVoe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. But I shouldn't talk about this stuff. Bernie's right because it's just
Stop virtue signaling. Absolutely. You might as well go put a mask on and take a picture and put it on Twitter.
Exactly right. Hey, Lydia, once again, great report.
Thank you. And by the way, both of my parents are immigrants. My mother doesn't even speak English still that well, and she is very fully capable of showing her ID. And this report, again, is sponsored by the Russian Tea Room. You have to try their afternoon tea at the Russian Tea Room for an enchanting experience, ideal for pre-theater or a special occasion, daily from 12 noon until 4:30 p.m. Check out the Russian Tea Room at 150 West 57th Street.
It really was all caught up in the New Edition, Bobby Brown, Belle Biv DeVoe. It was done so well. And it was actually done by a bunch of those guys, all those band members and Babyface. And I just all caught up in it. So actually almost felt like a black person. Felt pretty cool.
Oh, that's offensive. That is, you cannot walk a mile.
You can't do it?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not having it.
It's not going to happen again. I promise. Is that fair?
Well, it happened once.
Am I allowed to stand up?
No apologies. You don't get to apologize.
What happens if a black player catches a touchdown for the Giants? Can I stand up and cheer, or I can't do that?
Why not?
because I don't really want black people to succeed. I'm a racist. I'm lying.
Oh, I see.
So, in other words, when Lawrence Taylor would sack the opposing quarterback, if I fist pumped or got up and applauded, people like the lady you played last segment, that idiot, she would say that I'm being a phony. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I guess you would. The shame of it is that there are so many good, right-thinking black people. I mean, I hate, you hate to paint a whole people with a broad brush. But when they start with this nonsense, where, white supremacy, you're all racist, and all of this crap,
garbage,
that forces you to push back. And so it actually achieves what they're trying to achieve, which is dividing us. Because now we pushed back and we say, well, we're, this, that, the other, the country was good. And then, I don't know, it's just poison is what it is, Sidney. It's utter poison.
It's funny you say poison because Belle Biv DeVoe's #1 hit was a song titled Poison. Did you know that?
I do remember that.
Remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
Poison. And they broke off New Edition and they became Belle Biv DeVoe. Mark Siegel, Dr. Mark Siegel, 13 years now at Fox News, internist, I should say, at NYU Langone Medical Center. He is a big deal. He's claiming that he's been calling this our guest line, and there's no answer. Now, I'm watching the phone right here. Guest 1, is that ringing? That's weird. Okay. I'm not sure why there's no answer, but he's supposed to be calling in now. Dove Heikkinen will join us at 9:05.
Well, I'll tell you what. Excuse me. As we await Dr. Mark Siegel, let me play this clip of Dr. Marty Makary on Dr. Fauci. It's cut 1. It's Marty Makary 1. Play this, what he said about Dr. Fauci. Should actually, show some humility. Listen to this.
Only the 5th time a U.S. president has been invited to Windsor Castle.
Dr. Marty Makary.
You know what I find people appreciate, Brian, is when I tell folks, I got it wrong. I made the best recommendation I could at the time. But people are hungry for honesty, okay? And we're talking about Dr. Fauci. He's bringing this on himself right now. Out there on all the media networks, showboating himself in front of Style magazine, writing a book. I mean, people have a right to be angry right now, and I think some humility would go a long way.
That is, he's talking about Fauci posing poolside, et cetera, with cigars and that type of thing. In the middle of a pandemic, writing a book a la Andrew Cuomo.
Same thing.
And then he actually made this startling revelation to me. He was talking to Brian Kilmeade right here on 77 WABC. Dr. Fauci and AIDS. So, this is not the first time Dr. Fauci has been dead wrong. Listen to this, Dr. Marty Makary on Dr. Fauci and AIDS. Take a listen.
And he got HIV wrong, if you will, if I can say that, because he said immediately it was going to be a vaccine that gets us out of HIV. And immediately when HIV hit, it was all vaccine funding, all vaccine research. It was not for the oral medications. Guess what ended up managing HIV? Not an HIV vaccine. It was antivirals. So he's a vaccine guy, and that's his bias, and I think he downplayed oral medications early on with COVID.
Well, here's Dr. Fauci. He's gotten everything wrong from day one, everything wrong. Our next guest has gotten everything right, and that's why alongside Dr. Nicole Saphier, to some extent Dr. Oz, he's a huge favorite of us, Sid and Bernie. He's been on Fox News now for 13 years, a big-time internist at NYU Langone Medical Center. He's written books. He's done it all. Ladies and gentlemen, making his debut on the Bernie and Sid in the Morning Show, the very, very bright and talented Dr. Mark Siegel. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
Good morning, and you forgot to mention the reason I was invited on is because I have season tickets to the Knicks. You didn't mention that.
Well, that is true. I didn't want to throw that out there, but you're a Met fan, too. You brought up Jacob deGrom while you were texting me. Derek